Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Tonight we journey into the abyss, into those forgotten corners of the world where shadows linger and whispers echo with the secrets of the dead. We're talking about places lost to time, swallowed by silence, and shrouded in an eerie stillness that chills you to the bone. Places where the veil between our world and the next wears thin. Tonight we explore 3 villages swallowed by that unsettling silence. 3 villages that time forgot, each more unsettling than the last. Let's begin. Nestled deep within a valley, shrouded by an unnatural fog that never seems to lift, lies the village of Silbury. Or at least that's what the locals once called it. Now they call it the Village of Shadows. It's said that Silbury was once a bustling hub, a place of laughter and life, where children played in the streets and merchants sold their wares. But something happened, something dark and sinister that changed everything. The stories are vague, passed down through generations like whispers in the dead of night, each retelling more chilling than the last. Some say a plague swept through, wiping out most of the population, leaving only a few survivors who fled in terror. Others speak of a fire, so fierce and sudden it consumed everything in its path, leaving nothing but ashes and memories. Whatever the cause, Silbury was abandoned, left to rot and decay under a perpetual veil of mist, a ghost of its former self. Those who dare to venture near the village speak of an oppressive silence, a heavy, suffocating blanket that muffles all sound, making even the bravest feel uneasy. They say the fog is thickest around the old church, its spire just barely visible, a skeletal finger pointing accusingly at the sky, as if blaming the heavens for its fate. Locals whisper of figures that wander the mist-choked streets, shadows that shift and flicker in the periphery, always just out of sight. They say the figures are the remnants of the village's past, souls trapped between worlds, unable to move on, forever bound to the place they once called home. There are stories of travelers lured off the beaten path by the promise of shelter, only to vanish without a trace. Their fates a mystery. Their fates unknown, their disappearances adding another layer of dread to the village's already grim reputation. A place where hope seems to fade. Some say the village itself is cursed, a place where darkness lingers and evil festers, a blight on the land. A place where time stands still and the dead refuse to stay buried, their restless spirits haunting the living. But the most unsettling detail, the one that truly sends shivers down your spine, is the laughter. A high-pitched, chilling laughter that echoes through the empty streets, a sound that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, piercing the silence. No one knows who or what is laughing, but the sound is unmistakable and unforgettable. But one thing is certain, it's a sound that will haunt your nightmares long after you've left the Village of Shadows behind, a reminder of the darkness that lies within. Our next stop takes us deep into the heart of a dense, ancient forest, where sunlight struggles to penetrate the thick canopy of pine needles. The air is thick with the scent of pine, and the ground is carpeted with a soft layer of fallen needles. This is Whispering Pines, a village named for the eerie rustling of the wind through the trees, a sound that chills the soul and sends shivers down the spine. Whispering Pines was once a small, isolated community, cut off from the outside world by miles of dense woodland. The village thrived in its seclusion, with the forest providing both sustenance and protection. The villagers kept to themselves, their lives steeped in tradition and folklore. They lived in harmony with the forest, respecting its power and the mysteries it held. But their isolation came at a price, a heavy burden that would haunt them for generations. Legends speak of a darkness that permeated the village, a malevolent presence that lurked in the shadows of the forest. This entity was said to be as old as the trees themselves, a guardian of the forest's secrets. It is said that the villagers made a pact with this entity, a bargain for protection from the dangers of the outside world. In return, they offered their loyalty and their silence. But the price of their safety was a terrible one, a cost that would grow heavier with each passing year. Every year, on the night of the summer solstice, the villagers were forced to offer a sacrifice to the entity. This ritual was a grim reminder of their pact and the power of the forest, a young life offered up to appease its insatiable hunger. The chosen one was seen as a savior, a protector of the village's future. The sacrifices continued for generations, a dark secret passed down from one generation to the next. Each family bore the weight of this tradition, knowing that one day it could be their child. But as the years turned into decades, the entity grew greedier, demanding more than just one sacrifice. Its hunger seemed to know no bounds, and the villagers lived in constant fear. It's said that the entity began to claim the villagers one by one, their screams swallowed by the dense forest. The once peaceful nights were now filled with terror and loss. The once thriving community dwindled until only a handful remained. The village that was once full of life and laughter became a ghost town, haunted by its past. Those who managed to escape Whispering Pines spoke of strange lights in the woods and disembodied whispers that seemed to taunt and torment them. These survivors carried the scars of their experiences, both seen and unseen. They claimed that the entity was real and it was hungry. Its presence was a constant reminder of the village's dark history and the price of their pact. Today the village stands abandoned, its buildings crumbling and overgrown with vines. Nature has taken over, erasing the traces of human habitation. The forest has reclaimed what was once hers, swallowing up the remnants of a community consumed by its own darkness. The trees stand as silent witnesses to the horrors that unfolded here. But some say that the entity still lingers in the woods, its hunger never truly satiated. It waits in the shadows, a dark presence that can never be fully banished. They say that if you listen closely, you can still hear the whispers of the pines, a chilling reminder of the horrors that transpired in that forgotten corner of the world. The forest holds its secrets close, and the whispers are a testament to the village's tragic past. Our final destination tonight is perhaps the most unsettling of all, a place where the air itself feels heavy with dread, and the silence is so profound it feels like a physical presence, wrapping around you like a cold, invisible shroud. This, my friends, is Silent Hollow. Unlike the other villages we've explored tonight, Silent Hollow wasn't always abandoned. In fact, it was once a thriving mining town, its streets bustling with life and the promise of riches, a beacon of hope for many. But beneath the surface, a darkness was brewing, unseen and insidious. Deep within the mine, the miners unearthed something they shouldn't have, something that should have remained buried, something ancient and evil that had been buried for centuries, waiting to be disturbed. The details are shrouded in mystery, passed down through hushed whispers and fragmented accounts, each more chilling than the last. Some say it was a cursed artifact, others a gateway to a realm of unimaginable horror, a doorway that should never have been opened. Whatever it was, its discovery unleashed a wave of terror upon Silent Hollow, changing the town forever. Miners began to experience vivid hallucinations, their minds unraveling in the darkness. Driven mad by the whispers that echoed through the tunnels, they could no longer distinguish reality from nightmare. Accidents became more frequent, each more gruesome than the last, as if the mine itself was hungry for souls. The townsfolk lived in a perpetual state of fear, their days filled with dread and their nights haunted by nightmares of the darkness that lurked below. Their homes, once filled with laughter and life, became prisons of terror. Then one day the mine went silent, as if it had swallowed its last victim. No one came up from the depths, and no amount of shouting or searching could penetrate the oppressive silence that had descended upon the town, a silence that seemed to mock their efforts. Silent Hollow was abandoned, its inhabitants fleeing in terror, their hearts heavy with the weight of what they had witnessed. Leaving behind their homes and possessions, they sought refuge from the malevolent force that had taken over their town. The mine entrance was sealed, a desperate attempt to contain the evil that had been unleashed. But the silence remains, a haunting reminder of what once was. Those who have dared to venture into the abandoned town speak of a bone-chilling stillness, an eerie quiet that seems to seep into your very soul. A complete absence of sound that is more unnerving than any scream, a silence that feels alive. They say that the darkness that was unleashed from the mine still lingers, a malevolent presence that refuses to leave. Seeping into the very fabric of the town, it taints everything it touches, and that if you listen closely, you can still hear the faint echoes of whispers, ghostly voices carried on the wind, carried on the wind that blows through the empty streets of Silent Hollow, a town forever marked by its dark past. The darkness is vast, my friends, and these 3 villages are just a glimpse into the unsettling mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our world. If you found yourself drawn to these tales of forgotten places and unsettling events, if you felt a shiver run down your spine as we delved into the unknown, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. For here in this channel, we embrace the darkness. We confront the things that go bump in the night, and we'll continue to explore the shadows together until the very end. Until next time, sleep well, if you can.